It's May 6th, and so I will be posting this today that I recorded. So this video, if you're new here, read the description below. However, for this particular celebrity, since he has passed, then I'm going to kind of do this a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit of information that comes through from his end and some other information that pertains to the subject. If you want to come into this video with just no expectations and just listening to me talk, then maybe this is the video for you. But if you're looking for specific stuff, then I would, just as a forewarning, this may not be interesting to you whatsoever. So, as you know, I like to talk about what I know about the celebrity before I get into the reading, and to talk a little bit more about that. Honestly, it's just more challenging for me when I know nothing about a celebrity, so that's usually why I choose people that I don't know anything about, because we all have different biases, and that's just not even including my personal life, right? Like, as I curate my personality, I will have a bias for or against certain things, or it'll create a storyline. So as a psychic, or even like an investigator or a special agent, like, it's all about breaking the biases, right? And understanding when you're being biased. That way it doesn't infiltrate too much, but also using your experience to, figure out what the truth is, right? And so for this channel, it's just kind of part of what I do, because I just find it fun. I find it interesting for me. And as you would know, like, especially when it comes to, let's say, like a court case, like a jury, if you know information about that crime, or the people involved, then you get thrown out, right? So it's important for me, for you guys to kind of see where I'm coming from, so that the details, you'll kind of understand where the details might, how I came up with what I did, right? Like, I'm incorrect in my interpretation, because I'm just translating, right? Because people on the other side, they don't communicate in English, right? It's like the communication before we learn our dialect. So I'm just trying to translate that energy into something that is understood, but I have to understand it myself, right? You understand? You follow me? So with Nipsey, when I first started this channel, I told one of my friends what I was doing, and Nipsey Hussle was their personal request. They're like, please do a video on Nipsey and tell me what you get. And I was kind of mixed. I was like, I understand this is entertainment, and I pose as entertainment, but these are obviously real people. They have real family, and it feels very sensitive. Like, Nipsey Hussle in particular feels extraordinarily sensitive. Like, the subject itself is very, very sensitive. And I felt like since then, I think I started I don't know how many years ago, it never felt like the right time. And so around April 1st, it was the day before April 1st, I started feeling his energy, and I don't know much, like, prior to April 1st, I didn't know much about Nipsey Hussle. Now, when he passed, it was all over the news. Everyone was talking about it. So there's no way I did not pick up on some information. And I honestly couldn't even remember when he had passed away. I thought it was in October or August, September. Those dates to me are, or those months are very significant. Like every time I hear Nipsey Hussle or think of Nipsey Hussle, those are the months that come up into my awareness. So there's obviously a connection there. I'm not sure what. But it almost feels like love. Like those are the months of love to him somehow. But when I just kind of assumed this whole time that that's when he passed. Now, figuring out that he had passed away in April, it might have even been April 1st or 2nd, something like that. Then it kind of makes sense. Like maybe it's somewhere in my subconscious. Like I couldn't tell you exactly what it is that I picked up on and didn't, like, since this crime occurred, right? And so I was gonna do a workout. It was March 31st. I put my headphones in, and for those of you who have ever had a spiritual experience, it's kind of like how it shows in the movies. Like if you hear a song and you know that it's someone like communicating with you, you know, like it gets so loud. It's almost like tunnel vision in your ears, right? And yeah, I was I'm like laughing because I'm like, well, had my AirPods in, but it was like so directed. Like it was like everything around me didn't exist except for the sound. It was amplified, and I kept hearing his name, Nipsey Hussle, repeated in my head over and over again. It was actually right before the song played, but then when the song came on, it was that tunnel vision that happened, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was Betrayed by Lil Boozy, so that would be a channeled song, and that was what was communicated to me is that song, Betrayed. And it was one of those moments, and I've done it here on this channel a couple of times before, where I've felt so compelled to just stop what I was doing and record immediately. And that's how I felt. It was like it felt so impulsive that I stopped myself. I'm like, I don't want to jump ahead too much. I want to just sit in this energy for a little bit, finish my workout, ground myself. I'll really think about this. His energy in particular is surrounded by like energy grabbers, is what I'm going to call them. It's like, it's not even like, you know, people in real life terms, like energy vampires, like not even talking about spiritually, like getting too much into that, but you know, people who like they just aren't really good people, or they're in a tough time and they just kind of suck your energy dry, right? They don't even have to be a bad person, but they suck your energy dry. Or like people who were social climbers, right? Well, I think that's a better example, as a social climber, where they're just using you, they're just users. It's like that, but on an energetic level. I can literally, like, the way that it's coming across to me is hands grabbing at him, like grabbing at his energy, like trying to. They're not actually doing it, but they're trying to grab at his energy. And it feels as if there's people that are still living, and this is getting into the, now this is like really getting into it, okay? And the people I think who are really gonna understand, I think like all of you guys who are still watching, like I think you guys on different levels are gonna understand this, but there's highlighted to me that people who are into like voodoo, it's a type of voodoo, like I think, what is it, voodoo, is that what it's called? Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but it's like a particular kind, like in New Orleans and like areas where it's, or like even like Sri Lanka, like somewhere where they're like dark people that are from another country, or like Barbados, you know, like they're dark skinned, like naturally dark skinned, and it doesn't feel like they're African, like African American, well, like African. It feels like that kind of culture, you know, like some of you are gonna know what I'm talking, but that's where I'm getting, where they're not necessarily doing it, but it's like in that culture that you would have a specific term, or like knowledge, or like stories about this kind of energy that I'm seeing. It's like, it's an extension. Okay, so the people that are trying to grab at his energy is like a living person, but it's an extension of them. It's like, if you were, the way that it's being shown to me, like, okay, so who's telling me? My guardian angels are explaining to me that the body and the spirit is not separate. The spirit is an extension, or the body is an extension of the spirit, in the sense that, like, this is the tangible, physical, or just like visual of our spirit. However, there's a way of perceiving where it's like a break. It's like a breakaway. So what's happening in spirit is separate than what's happening in body. It's like what I'm saying in my head, that's what I was going to say, is it's similar or the same as when I see demonic possession. But they're saying it's not the same thing. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, we understand why, or like where you're getting that, or why you're getting that, but it's not the same thing. So there are people who are engaged in this kind of, I guess it's witchcraft, but I'm umbrella terming it, so that's probably not, that's kind of probably insulting because this is something darker, and like malintentions, but that's essentially what they're doing. They're trying to absorb his energy, but they can't do it because I'm being shown him, like, if this were his spirit, I'm not communicating with, I'm observing, and I'm talking about it, so I'm not interjecting anything right now. It's hard to explain, but anyway, like, if this were his spirit, there's like a force field, like a pure energetic force field surrounding him. He's protected and protective. So they aren't able to, like, there's a couple that like get kind of close to getting through, like kind of getting like that, but you see how thin that is in comparison to this, and it's kind of dissolves like that. And this is something that's been happening to him all his life. Like, there's just regular people who unknowingly are like this. Like, it's almost like they're zombies. Like, I don't know, they're like inhabited. Like, it's not the same. There's something about that I'm I guess I'm not spiritually mature enough to truly get, or I don't have like okay, so they're saying like don't get hung up on it because I said it properly, so I don't really need to keep harping on it. And I guess those who get it. So this has essentially been going on all his life, even with people who, as a human being, right, like they're not fully aware, they're just kind of like not that good people, right? And so he's kind of been able to harness this like energy and like cultivate who he is, like it kind of it sharpened his belief system, and it sharpened like his, I'm hearing like his integrity, right? Like he became like the person that he was becoming. Not only is it someone who he always was, but these experiences are kind of leading him up to really strengthen those parts of him and to really concrete that into his personality. Like, that is not what I want to be a part of. That is not who I am. That is not what I like relate to. Like, I just don't relate to that kind of stuff. And I'm hearing anymore, but that's kind of just part of him growing into himself, right? And he was still going through that process. Okay, I'll get into that in a minute. So, in the industry, there are people who are well aware of what I explained, like on the spiritual level, like regular people. They're like, yeah, I know exactly what she's talking about. I know exactly what that is. That is, you know, this huge thing in the industry. We've been talking amongst each other. You know, when I say that, I'm being stopped and being like, don't really get too far into that, because that's not really, like, people would not want to talk about them talking about it. But that is something that's obviously an issue right now. The woman that he was involved with, I'm going to say a wife. I think he has a wife and kids. So his wife has been told this information, okay? So I'm going to switch as if I'm speaking to her, because I feel like I should. So you've been told this information multiple times by multiple people. It feels more like men, because the men in the industry seem to know on, it's, I don't know how to, like you know how men are kind of more mechanical, I guess, like in the way that they understand things or like interpret things. Like, it's not overly emotional. It's not like creating a storyline or whatever, that kind of thing. Like, it's just point blank, like straightforward. This is what it is, like that, cut and dry. And I believe what I'm being told is that you have been told some things relating to what I said, and also relating to what happened that day, or around that day, leading up to that day, afterwards, like all of this, like everything surrounding this crime. And I think now it's starting to sink in, but there was a while where you were in denial, because it's very difficult to accept and believe. And it's like, I think it's also very hard to think from his perspective, like from Nipsey's perspective, like for someone that is so intimate and loves him so much, to think of knowing the demise and like the bigger picture, and then to think of like what he was thinking, like way before all this happened. You get what I'm saying? And just, you know, just just the regular kind of things that people would probably like think about when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, there are other women too, and I feel like these women are more like in your circle, because it feels separate. Like, I don't know your particular like career, or like how your friends could be separate. Like, you have a separate women's group where they have, or it's like the wives group or whatever, it's like they have their own perspective on things and interpretation on things, and it comes from their realm of understanding the world and how it would make sense. But I feel like they are a little bit more off from the truth. Even though they're well-intentioned, they're more off from the truth because they aren't living it the way that these men have. These men have first-hand experience, and it's kind of like, yeah, maybe they don't, what I'm hearing is like maybe they don't quite understand, like they don't have the full picture either, or like they come from like a different perspective, maybe a jaded perspective, something, like there's some difference in the way that they see the information. But the men, they know a lot more, and they know the right information, if any of that's making sense. So they can be trusted. So what I'm hearing is like you can trust that information. And so going back, okay, so now I'm going to go back to April 1st and 2nd, right? Now, those days I was thinking, and I'm like, I don't know, do I record, do I not record? I recorded a video, I recorded 2 videos, and then the flash drive, I don't know where it's at. I have no idea where it is. And so it didn't matter, like at the time it didn't matter because I felt like I should sit on it. Like it was just a strong feeling in me, like don't release the video, like sit on this information some more, like don't release it yet. And then I had this feeling to release it around like the 30th, I think, like April 30th or like 25th or 30th, like somewhere around there. And then I didn't, obviously, because I don't know where the flash drive is. And I felt like, because you know on YouTube, like you can upload it and then schedule it for later, and I didn't do that because I when I knew where the flash drive was, I put it into my laptop, and I was like, no, I kept having this feeling like no. I don't know why. I never asked why. And something, I'll tell you everything in a minute, but I want to complete my sentence. Okay. It's like, it's too much in my head, where the answer, I keep hearing very loudly, the answer is in the why. The answer is in the why. The answer is in the why. Like, why did I want to record it to begin with? I don't know why. Just, I felt like it was the right thing to do. I mean, there's obviously information there, but I don't. Why I wanted to record this video, I felt like there were more messages that he wanted to pass along about the importance of several things. The importance of being who you are, irregardless of society and the world around you. Of really paying, like, again, the word, you know, like, cultivating who you are. It's really important to like, honestly reflect on your life and see, like, what made you, what situations, what circumstances in life made you, what decisions, you know, like, every moment's a decision. So what decisions did you make in your life to lead you to the finality of who you are in this moment, right? Like, you are never final, but in that very second that you had that last frame of thought, what all choices in your life led you to be that. And to kind of be present, like, find ways to meditate and be present in that thought, that question, so that you can, if you desired, reframe who you are and to become everything that you've wanted to be. Like, it's okay to restructure your life. It's okay to say things are different now. It's okay to change different parts and aspects of your life if you think that change will get you to a better you. It's always about becoming a better version of you. And being a better you is being a healed you. Is being, like, he feels very spiritual. Feels like an elevated being. He feels elevated. Like ascended. Like, you hear ascended masters. He feels ascended. He feels like he just is, you know? Like, in full peace, in full complete peace. It's this feeling and recognition that everything's in equilibrium, right? There's not the tension of this world. Like, the world feels very heavy, and it feels like there's tension. There's a push and pull. There's desires. There's temptations. There's wants. There's needs. There's, like, yearning. Like, all these feelings, right? Or excitement. Like, all of these feelings that are up and down movements of vibrations, right? But at peace, everything is still. And so it's finding that stillness, right? And recognizing that stillness is good. Stillness is where you're trying to reach. And it's not a point of feeling like you're losing anything. Like, oh, well, it's not, like, where's the excitement in that? Where's the thrill in that? Where's the passion in that? And it supersedes passion. It's like passion leads you to that. Yearning leads you to that. It's that inner guidance and that human placed emotion. Like, we have the capacity to feel these things in order for us to get to that point, get us to that goal. And the beauty of reaching that goal is that it, like, leads you to serenity. It leads you to a world that is beyond even explanation or understanding from the human state of mind. You know? It's like that feeling of plateauing at a goal, like, that's a human emotion. That's associated with lower level feelings and thinkings. So it's like, how to reach there. That's, like, one of the biggest messages that he has, that he wants to. And when I say that, it's like, and before, when I was starting to talk about the messages, like, before I said all that, like, every time I say that, I get this flash of his children. It's like, so the way that he sees himself is also in his children. I just saw shoes. I saw shoes, like little shoes. I don't know if they're, I think they look like boy shoes, like little Nike shoes or something, like, you know, just like sports shoes. And so that's what it was showing me, is like shoes. And I guess there's girl shoes too, but that's what I'm saying is shoes. And he loves how expressive they are. And I feel like they have very, like, contrasting personalities. Like, very similar, but also contrasting. And he loves that. He loves their expression of themselves, and he encourages that. And, like, endlessly encourages to just be you. Like, find you, and don't be afraid or ashamed of anything of that. And he's very proud of his wife, how strong she is, how resilient she is, that she perseveres through anything, and she's just, I heard for myself powerhouse, but it was something like bomb or smoke. I don't think he would just say smoke show or smoke bomb. I don't know what he said, but it's like something around there. But it's like, or she's like that. It's just like powerful, like explosive. And he just encourages her to like pursue her dreams. Like, it's kind of like getting back into work, or like going to work, or like just like doing what she dreams of doing. Like, it's kind of, it's basically him saying, it's not basically, this is what he's saying, it's like, enjoy your life now, like full frame of life, you know, like just really, like, I'm hearing like the words explosive, like just the full spectrum, the full color of life, experience it all. I don't know if he calls her girl, like, experience it all, girl, or baby girl, or something. Like, just go for it, you know? Do it all, because you can. Why not? It's like, you can do it, I believe in you, like, definitely. So maybe if there was a question that she was having, like, or doubts, or just, I don't know if I should do this, and he's like, yeah, why not? Of course you can do it. Of course you're ready. Of course you're capable. Go for it. Yeah. And so as far as the crime goes, I just wanted to say, there's like a 3-part, and I'm gonna very lightly gloss over this and just shut this video down after this, because I don't think I'm supposed to go any further. There's a 3-part to it. I'm aware that there was an arrest made, okay? Whatever this person is saying, there's a lot of truth to it. And I think that's the hardest part to accept from, like, the familial side, or like the deep friend side, that there's more to the story. There's definitely more to it. Why? I don't know why. I don't know. You know why. Like, you as in, like, if anyone, like, if she were to be watching, if someone close that know, like, you guys know, like, the men, like, whatever the men, like, y'all know why. But there's also a part, it's like that, the person that would be closest to knowing from that circle would be a female. I know I said, like, the females, but there would be, like, a female who's, like, more analytical, like the closest female, or like an older female, like her mom, his mom, like someone that would be, like, the most open-minded to all the information, and then like is like very sharp. Like this person's like very, very sharp, and would be like, I knew from day one something wasn't right. I knew this, like something, you know, and then like pieces everything together. But the way that I'm seeing it is like, here's the wife, here's like the men's circle. Sorry, there's the wife, men's circle, women's, let me read it. Wife, men's circle, women's circle. Here's that woman, but then it's like linked to the men. So she's like if she would be like a parent, auntie, I mean, she doesn't even have to be older. Maybe that's just her energy. It's like very mature, and like seasoned. Like she just knows a lot, you know, like been through a lot. I would say like her personality is like kind of like funny. Like she laughs a lot. Like she has a really good sense of humor, but she also doesn't play around. Like it's like, we'll tease you all you want, but don't tease me. Or like you could tease me, but I'm gonna let you know when you take it too far. And she just feels like a very strong female energy, and not afraid to call people out, but also keeps a lot of things on the down low, like very quiet about things when she feels she should be. Trustworthy, you know, it's, you know, sometimes people can like, it's like, yeah, you keep things quiet, but it's like, then you don't speak up when things are wrong. You keep things suppressed. She doesn't, like, she'll stand up. Like she has a good righteous attitude, and you can trust her. Yeah, that's kind of just to kind of give you an idea of who this person might be. And even like she'll even be honest with herself, and like if she messes up, then she takes accountability, but it's kind of like in a sly way, like, yeah, okay, maybe I was wrong, we'll see though. You know, or like, I don't know, something like funny like that. And the other last thing I wanted to say, I'll end it on this last note, is when he crossed, it's so funny and interesting. I don't know if the Nutty Professor is significant, like the movie itself, like if that's like some inside joke or whatever, because that's who he shows me is, you know, the family in Nutty Professor, and they're just like loud, they're bigger people, like bigger family, and it's like you put them in any situation, like any setting, and they're themselves, right? Like they don't adhere to whatever like the social norm is in those situations. They're just them, like it never, their personality never changes. And so before he had passed, it was like a split. It was like he knew, like on a higher level, like the timelines had set up where this was happening, right? Like well ahead of the altercation. And so it was almost as if he was, it feels like it's like a walking daydream. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, where you're just kind of like you do things and you don't really, like you kind of forget, or it's like, you know how when you drive home, sometimes you're not really thinking and you don't really, like you're not aware, right? It's just kind of going off of instinct or whatever, or like habit. And so what he was doing, even though it was like, I just want to say as accurate as possible, but basically like his spirit you know, like of a lot of his spirit, the majority of it was already operating in spirit. So it was like this lower level of his awareness, this lower level of his spirit where that was operating as Nipsey. So yeah, like he felt confident and not scared. It was like kind of not, I mean, I guess it was funny, like it was like humorous what had happened, like in it happening. He was just kind of like, you know, brushing it off. Like it was kind of funny. I don't feel that there was grief. I don't feel like there was like like anything like that where he's like pining for his family or anything, which is a very good thing because it was his spirit was already so strong. Like as a spirit, you're not like mourning, right? Like you want to be healed. You want to feel at peace. You want to feel that knowing, right? Like that deep, almost God-like knowing, right? Like you're not all knowing, but in spirit, you are much more aware than you are as a human. And so he was already feeling that. Like his presence was already like blanketing over his family. And so as this was occurring, this incident was occurring, it was like these family members were being shown to him. Like they were there. Like it was like he was having a dual reality of like this life and then the spirit life. But it was like the crossing over of the spirit life, because oftentimes we will have someone in spirit or some people of spirit to help us cross over. Our spirit's already familiar with the process. This is my belief. This is what I've seen in visions, but we're familiar with the process because we've lived as beings time and time again. So we start becoming more aware. So that's how it's kind of easy for us. But there are other spirits that will help navigate, right? Like they're self-appointed by our guardian angels or whomever, like whatever kind of role. So these family members are like those nutty professor, like they're loud, they're funny, they're expressive, they're really like the clumps. That's what it looks like to me. Like they're like the clumps. And he was just like, hey, like it was like a really big reunion. Like, how are you guys doing? What's going on? Like, this is amazing. This is like, it was just very celebratory and fun. Which saying that would really get to people from outside the circle who are trying to get in. But that's the truth. He's just, you know, you can't get at his spirit. You can't. I don't think you ever will. That's a really important message. And so I think there's a lot of value in the things that he says in spirit and maybe in life. I'm not really sure what he said in life, but there's a lot that can be learned from him. You know, yeah, I'll just end it there. I was just thinking, because I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure he was a gangster or something. I don't know. But that's just like life stuff. Like that's just the life that his spirit had chosen for a particular reason. And I think that's important for you guys also, like for whoever, not everyone, right? But it's important for people to also kind of put that in perspective. It's like, we come into this world as so many different personalities, and we have like so many human attachments and identities of who we are, yet there's such a greater purpose. Like that's kind of amazing. He could be, if that's real, like some gangster from somewhere who transforms himself into this huge celebrity and has such a passion and awareness for his spirituality and can translate that to other people, that can transform other people's lives. Like there's such a greater purpose in that. Like to dissolve him into those things is like such an injustice to who he truly is. Like, he seems like such an incredible soul, like an incredible elevated being. And yeah, so that's what I got. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys later. Bye.